So here's the thing about Soldier Boy from The Boys. He was likely the biggest breakout character from season 3 of this show. The internet was, and still is, raving about this man. But here's the thing, he's extremely toxic. And not only that, he's an absolute disaster of a person. I mean, he murdered MM's family and countless other. Dude loves killing children. And I'm not saying people don't know that about him. I mean, it's not exactly hard to find from his behavior.
Where's the cum guzzler?
He used to get me and my little brother lager just for the hell of it.
Well, I gotta admit, that does sound funny. Instead of out here playing Captain Lesbo. Bill Cosby is America's dad, and I'll tell you one thing, he wouldn't be caught dead in that pussy gear. That's a real man. Holy shit, did he make some strong drinks. You know, with a figure like yours, you are wasted down here. We lost Best Picture to American in Paris that year. At least I got to ass fuck Jane Wyman in the coat check.
But despite all of it, he is still a really well-liked character among fans and was one of the most talked about parts of the season, which says a lot. Although I will say, there are some people who don't know that. So I wanted to go into a couple reasons why Soldier Boy ended up so popular, even after everything that happened. To the point where many people were furious with Butcher for turning on him, even though Soldier Boy was literally about to kill Butcher's child. Well, not actually Butcher's, but he made a promise to Becca. But I wanted to go into a couple reasons why Soldier Boy is so well liked, and by the way, I really enjoyed his presence a lot. I just think Butcher wasn't entirely wrong for turning against him in the end. But one reason why people love him is that he is fucking hilarious. I'm gonna start with this one to set us off on a lighter note because he's actually extremely fucking dark, but he's also got the best one-liners. I mean, he is completely tone deaf, almost deliberately so, but it makes for some incredibly unique insults and such stereotypical alpha male behavior that you can't help but just laugh. When we meet him with Payback through Mallory's POV, he is just maximum asshole, telling her to smile, making a pass at her, pretty much says every single thing you'd expect a guy like him to say to every woman he passes. But I think The Boys excels at satire and this brand of over-the-top humor in a way that almost endears you to his character. I mean, he sucks, but you kind of want him on screen because he's so funny. Just like, what is everyone else going to think about this dude, and how many insults can he make about every other character in the show? Another reason why people like Soldier Boy is that he's not just a stereotype. It'd be one thing if this character that everyone loved was this one-note, stereotypical, sexist man from the 50s. That alone would make no sense to me. But of course, it's clear as the episodes go on that Soldier Boy has his own trauma that made him the terrible person he is today. I want to make it clear, it by no means excuses him from anything he's done, but knowing the situation with his father just brings so much clarity to his character as a whole. I mean, when he revealed that his father didn't really love him and felt he disappointed him, I wasn't really surprised. I just kind of thought, yep, that tracks. But imagine going all the way to drugging yourself with an untested drug for some sketchy corporation just for the chance that your dad might be proud of you. I mean, Compound V to this day is ugly. You don't get a perfect soup every time, as they've explained. I can't imagine what it was like when it was in the trial period. It means he was extremely lucky to get the powers he did, and he's still stronger than most of the heroes around today, thanks to some Russian enhancements as well. And after all of that, his dad says he took the easy way out and that he cheated. Such a common insult, by the way, from dads who refuse to show any sort of pride for their sons and are likely jealous of their success. But learning that gives you a whole different perspective on this character. Not nearly enough to even come close to forgive him for anything he's done, but it gives you some good context, and it's so understandable when you hear stories about his father and look at the man that he's become today. And I think this is a big reason why people like him as a character. They're not saying he's a good person, and he isn't just a hilarious jerk, though. He's got depth and a well-developed backstory that explains his current behavior, and even some relatability. Hopefully not a lot, or you need therapy, my friend. Number 3, he is super strong. You know, it has to be said that Soldier Boy is kind of badass. I mean, whenever he opens his mouth, it's like, please shut the fuck up right now. But his raw strength, costume, and the use of that shield provide some really intense and brutal fighting that is super fun to watch. He is just an absolute tank. The amount of hits he's able to take from Homelander, Butcher and Starlight. It's honestly insane how much he can endure. I mean, one time Butcher straight up lasers him directly in the face and almost nothing happens to him. And I usually find these types of powers boring, just the strong guy, but I often like how this show handles their display of strength. They're very good at displaying Soldier Boy as nearly untouchable, with only a few moves that knock him off his feet. Starlight really needed to reach full power to knock him over, and the only way to actually beat him was to tackle him out of a skyscraper while he's exploding and then get to him fast enough on the ground to apply the drug to knock him out. It's literally basically cheating. You can't beat him in a direct fight. Oh yeah, also, he explodes now. If his raw strength weren't enough, the weird, dangerous enhancements that were made to him in Russia just make him even more fascinating to watch. Being the only character to this point that is able to remove the V from someone's blood is just terrifying. I mean, think of how good that could be if they used that power not for a devastating weapon. But like, when you see the results of this, like that Tiny Soup in Herogasm who was stuck tiny for the foreseeable future until Chad Homelander kills him and puts him out of his misery, is just utterly horrifying and amps up how intimidating he is as a villain. Another reason why people love Soldier Boy is that Jensen Ackles destroys this role. Pretty obvious, but it has to be said that Jensen Ackles deserves some sort of award for his performance as Soldier Boy. There's so much restraint behind the way he speaks. Soldier Boy is a man that hides everything behind a wall. His homosexuality, his lack of self-confidence. Jensen Ackles does an insane job of conveying that repression in nearly every line he delivers. The macho posturing that he is so keen to do is obviously a cover-up for his self-esteem issues. Hitting on Grace Mallory is a fantastic example again. Gets offended that she shuts him down, insults her, then accuses her of being a lesbian. It's honestly a step-by-step process for these men at this point. But my point is, Jensen Ackles is able to deliver all of these lines really convincingly and show the emotions that they're feeling behind it, show why that bitterness is coming out. It's not overly cheesy, it's not performative, and there's a lot of subtlety to be found in this performance, as ridiculous as it can get sometimes. Plus, that deep voice of his just works so well for the character. He's obviously playing it up, but the deep, baritone, aggressively American
It's free.
voice that he puts on for this character makes the jokes land that much better, and Ackles pulls it off with relative ease. Plus, it just fits the character in general. He is the ultimate prop for America, so it makes sense that he sounds like he's talking out of a movie from the 1940s. And the voice just works so well for that and plays into that stereotype and that kind of over-the-top depiction so much more. And I was glad to see his cameo in Gen V. They honestly definitely just threw him in there because they know we just love to watch him on screen, and they probably love to have him on set because he's such a good performer. I swear, I am not thirsting over this man that much. I'm just praising his performance, alright? Okay? Leave me alone. He's hot, alright? Is that what you wanted to hear from me?
Diddle that skittle.
Finally, he has an immense presence. All throughout Season 3, we hear stories about Soldier Boy from other people, whether it be tales from cartoons, warnings from exes, or memories from other people. And in all of these depictions, he is portrayed as an unstable, erratic, but extremely strong and terrifying man that nearly everyone is afraid of. Obviously, that's this show's bread and butter, because they've also got Homelander, so they are good at making characters like this, but there's just such an intense amount of detail given to him in just this season, building up to this insane climax where he's released from prison in Russia and nearly kills Kamiko right off the bat. They just do such a great job of building him up as this terrifying and intimidating figure so that whenever he's on screen, you're always guessing what he might do next, just like Homelander. Jensen Ackles' performance is very different than Anthony Starr's, but I think they both do the same thing very well, which is put everyone, including the audience, on their toes. And they did this in such a short amount of time. You have to give kudos to them. They had barely mentioned Soldier Boy before this season, and they built him up into one of people's favorite characters in such a quick amount of time. And in the opposite sense, there's also so many anecdotes about Soldier Boy just in pop culture and throughout history that are so ridiculous, but just fill him out and establish him as a prominent figure in this fictional world. I have to mention Rapture. I mean, it is just a perfect way to put this character throughout the decades, like in the 80s. And they have all this old stock footage of him talking to interviewers after he's supposedly fought in battles, which he never actually did. They're so good at providing an aggressive amount of context to be able to make you feel like Soldier Boy has been around this entire time. We just hadn't met him yet, which technically is true, but I will say it is incredible how quickly they were able to make everyone who watches the show love this character. I don't know about love, but enjoy this character's presence. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, consider supporting us on Patreon at patreon.com/PosiTVty. That's PosiTVty. There you can get all these videos early. You get to vote on what you want to see on the channel, and you get the reactions uncut and with a timer, so you can sync up your own copy of whatever we're watching and just watch it right along with us. So it's like we're in the room with you, which is pretty cool. So go there to get some extra content for yourself, but also support the channel. But even if you support the channel just on YouTube, that's great too. We really appreciate all the support that you guys give us. It does mean a lot. And we will see you guys for the next video. Let me know what that should be. Doesn't have to be BoJack. All right, bye.